Chapter 1. Help from a higher power. Is it really possible to get help from a higher power who will guide you and direct you to success? Throughout history, many people have claimed such guidance. For example, in the 17th century, playwright William Shakespeare said, "There's a divinity that shapes our ends, rough hew them how we will." Filmmaker Cecil B. DeMille urged, "Let the divine mind flow through your own mind, and you will be happier." I have found the greatest power in the world in the power of prayer. There is no shadow of doubt of that. I speak from my own experience. So from ancient times when Cicero said, "There is, I know not how, in the minds of men a certain presage, as it were, of a future existence, and this takes the deepest root, and is most discoverable in the greatest geniuses and most exalted souls, people who have achieved great things claimed divine guidance." Science learns how to contact a higher power. Aside from the claims that these people make, though, is there any kind of scientific evidence that this is really true? Religion says we must take it on faith. That was all we had until José Silva, while seeking ways to help his children learn to use more of their minds so they would do better in school, found a way to apply scientific method to the study of the mind and human potential. Science depends on the repeatable experiment, José explained. If you can replicate your experience, if you can do it again with predictable results, then you have scientific evidence that you are onto something. This was revealed to José, along with a great many other things, during his initial 22 years of research. Let me give you one example, taken from José Silva's autobiography. In this instance, José won a substantial prize in the Mexican lottery. A series of coincidences in 1949, after José had been conducting research for about 5 years, he became so frustrated with his study of psychology that he decided to quit. But something or someone wouldn't let him. As he recalled, Freud, Adler, these intelligent, educated men, they cannot even agree with each other. How could I, a simple, uneducated man, ever hope to understand? If these bigwigs don't agree with each other, who am I to straighten them out? I am just an amateur. At this time I was working a very busy schedule. I closed my radio repair shop at 9 p.m. to go home to have dinner with my family. Late one night I sat in the living room reading a psychology book while my wife, Paula, and the children slept. But I'd had enough. I've learned enough to help my family, I thought. My church thinks I'm wrong to delve into these areas. People in the town, religious people, are beginning to shun me. I'm taking time and money that I could use for my family and spending it on this research. Why should I continue? I threw the book across the room. Paula heard it hit the wall after it slid under the sofa. Apparently someone on the other side did, too. A message from high intelligence. I went to sleep right after that, but 2 hours later a bright light inside my head woke me up. It was a light like the midday sun when you look up into space on a cloudless day. Hanging in space were 2 sets of numbers, one on top of the other. The first set was 343, the second set, under the first set, was 373. Right after that, an impression of Christ and one solitary life given to me at the Army Reception Center came to me. Why Christ? I wondered. Why me? What does this have to do with the numbers? I opened my eyes, and it was dark. I glanced at the clock on the nightstand. It was 4:30 a.m. I said to myself, maybe it was a telepathic message. I had become aware of parapsychology by this time, and had read that such things could happen. I figured maybe this was the way it was done. Fascinated, I tried some experiments with myself and the light. I closed my eyes and tried to keep the bright light from disappearing, because it was fading gradually. I tried breathing slowly, but that did not help. I tried changing positions, but that did not help. I tried to slow down my heart, but whatever I did was not enough. The light faded until it disappeared. I stayed awake the rest of the night, trying to analyze what had happened. I thought of Paula and how she used to tell me that people who read too much go crazy. I was not about to tell her about the light in my head because I knew her answer would be, "I told you so." In fact, I might have agreed with her, as I started thinking, maybe this is how people start going crazy, by seeing lights in their heads. But one thing I kept thinking was that, for whatever reason this happened, it must be all right because of the impression of Christ and one solitary life that came to me with the experience. Searching for answers, the first explanation I thought of was that maybe I was supposed to call someone who has that phone number. At this time in Nuevo Laredo, Mexico, phone numbers had 6 digits. I searched the telephone book from cover to cover but did not find any listing for the numbers. My next idea was that maybe I should go to someone's home who had these numbers as part of their address, because maybe they would have a message for me. But when I studied a city map, I found that the home addresses in Laredo, Texas, did not use those numbers. It was about 4 o'clock the next afternoon when I came up with another idea, checking automobile and truck license plate numbers. I did this for the rest of the day, ready to ask for my message from the driver of any vehicle that had those numbers, but I did not find a match for my mysterious numbers. It was 15 minutes before 9 o'clock when I started to close my shop. My wife came in from our house next door and said to me, "If you go across the river into Nuevo Laredo, Mexico, for a service call, please get me a bottle of alcohol. We use Mexican alcohol for medicinal purposes because it is pure and costs less than alcohol in Laredo." I said to Paula, "Honey, I don't have service calls from across the border, but I will go and get you a bottle anyway." A friend has another idea. At that very moment, an old friend of mine came in to invite me to go for some coffee. I said, "Help me to close my place and we'll go right now." I asked him if he was in a hurry or if we could take a ride to Mexico for Paula's alcohol. Since my friend had been studying psychology with me for a year, I told him about my experience the night before. I felt sure he was not going to think I was crazy. I had not told anyone all day, and I needed to tell someone, so I told him. While crossing the bridge into Mexico, my friend suggested, "Now that we are coming into Mexico, and Mexico operates a national lottery, maybe there is such a number." I hadn't thought of that, and I had nothing to lose. The lottery agency was just a block and a half further up the same street where we were going. We stopped right in front of the lottery agency. It closed at 9 o'clock, and we had just missed it. Finding it closed means for me to forget it. "It is not supposed to be here," I told my friend. We then went to the liquor store to get Paula's alcohol. While I waited for the clerk to put some camphor into the liquor, this way it would be unfit for drinking, so we wouldn't have to pay liquor tax to take the alcohol into the United States, my friend went to a back room where he found some lottery tickets. "Success at last, what numbers are you looking for?" my friend called from the adjoining room. I told him, and he called back, 343 is here." I said, "You are kidding me, are you not?" My friend then answered, "Come and see." Sure enough, there were 5 segments of an active series numbered 343. A complete series contained 20 segments. Someone had already purchased the other 15 segments. My friend asked what I was going to do. "Buy these, of course," I told him. So I bought them. I had never ever thought of buying lottery tickets, but I bought 5 segments and would find out in 2 days if the number 343 would win anything. I found out that the ticket with the numbers 373 had been sold in Mexico City. It could not have been found anywhere else, because 373 was assigned to be sold in Mexico City only. If I had purchased that ticket, I would have cleared, after paying the Mexican income tax, about $1,000. On the other hand, 343 was assigned to be sold by the liquor store in Nuevo Laredo, and nobody else in the whole Republic of Mexico could have had it. The 343 had a prize also, and after paying the Mexican income tax and exchanging the Mexican pesos into US dollars, I cleared a little more than $10,000 with just my 5 segments on the ticket. I came home dazed, with $10,000 in my pocket, and in 1949, that was a lot of money. Why did this happen? In trying to figure out who had put that number in my head and why, I went back over my experience step by step, and found many coincidences. For example, my wife wanted a bottle of alcohol from Mexico. I could have told her I'd get it the next time I made a service call. Or I could have asked her to send someone else. Instead, I went that night. Paula did not know about my experience, much less know that she was sending me to the one place in the entire Republic of Mexico where the ticket was sold. And what timing! If my friend had come only 10 minutes later, I would have left already. If my friend had not gone with me, I would not have thought of buying a lottery ticket, let alone walked into the other room and seen the tickets. And even if I had thought about the lottery, I would not have continued to look for the tickets after finding the lottery. Agency closed. After backtracking and after going over every detail of the experience, I found myself faced with many coincidences. I felt that those coincidences were trying to tell me something, or that somebody was trying to tell me something through those coincidences. I then felt that I must seek and find out what it was that I was supposed to do, or not do. I started going back prior to having the experience, hour by hour, step by step, seeking a clue. The only thing I saw that could have had a connection and could have brought on the series of coincidences was the decision I made to stop studying psychology. With that realization, I pulled the psychology book out from under the couch, dusted it off, and continued studying. This chain of coincidences, not just one coincidence, but 5 coincidences on the same subjects, is what I consider divine intervention. Verification and confirmation. Scientists always look for verification. Having all of those coincidences happen the way they did provided me with the verification that it was divine guidance. I believe that a spontaneous event with detrimental end results is an accident, and that a spontaneous event with beneficial end results is a coincidence that could be divine guidance. A series of beneficial coincidences is surely divine intervention. Many people in Laredo would have thought about the lottery immediately, just as my friend did. If I had thought about it, I would have checked the lottery agency immediately, which means that I wouldn't have found the ticket. High intelligence guided me, through the series of coincidences, to the right place, so that I would find the lottery ticket, and would understand that it was not just luck or coincidence, but divine guidance. My many coincidences with the lottery ticket experience was a means of getting back on track. From then on I started experimenting, trying to put together a method that would help to enhance what I used to call the guessing faculty. What I called the guessing faculty turned out to be the intuitiveness factor. Able to overcome opposition. Jose was attacked from every angle. The Catholic Church considered excommunicating him for what they thought he was doing. When they saw he was helping people, and not causing any harm, they backed off. The state district attorney called him in and said that people had complained about how he was defrauding the public. How have I defrauded anybody when I have never accepted any money, not even reimbursement for my expense? Jose asked. The DA complimented him on his foresight and sent him on his way. People he thought were his friends shunned him. Some even went out of their way to avoid him. Many people wouldn't look me in the eye, he said, because I was practicing hypnosis. They were afraid I might use it to take advantage of them. Other times he saw people cross the street to avoid coming too close to him. The local newspaper refused to accept advertising from Jose for his radio repair business. All that has changed now, of course. People fear what they don't understand, and in the early days, many people feared the messenger, Jose Silva. Even my wife was against me, Jose recalled. She was afraid I was practicing witchcraft. But when she finally saw how much this was helping our children, she started supporting me. She even learned how to condition the children and helped me with that. In fact, he added, by the time I had managed to convince her, I was well prepared for my other critics. Maybe that was how high intelligence prepared me for the big job that lay ahead of me, when I had to convince scientists and others of the value of our work. Everyone can do this. By the time he had conducted 22 years of research, Jose knew that everyone could learn to use their psychic ability, and if they could achieve a deep level of mind with conscious awareness and maintain that deep level once they activated their mind, then they could seek and receive guidance from high intelligence. He developed a system that required just 48 hours to teach people to do this. The Silva course has now been shortened to 1/3 of that time, now that humanity has evolved in its understanding of this field. Of course, you need to practice and develop your expertise at using the Silva techniques, just as you must practice anything else. But for those who persisted, they could learn to remember dreams and use them to get guidance when they didn't know what to do next. In fact, once you develop your psychic ability sufficiently, you can simply a meditative level that we will explain short analyze your problem, and get the guidance you need. This has been the case with many Silva graduates. Here is an example from Reverend Teresa F. Finkley of Sacramento, California. I was an unhappy little girl who wondered if her parents loved her. My mother had left me with my grandparents, and my father only came to see me once. Mother remarried and didn't want a stepfather over me. I couldn't understand that. When she was grown, Teresa got married and had 2 children, but her son died after just 15 days. Because I couldn't see that I was being divinely guided, I became ill and had a brush with death. But I was given another chance. I had a spiritual experience that was the beginning of a new way of living. In the hospital bathroom mirror, I saw a spirit being that extended an invitation for me to come. I cried out loud, "No, I have to live for my daughter." It backed away, and I sank to the floor and became wet from head to foot. The next morning I was better. Later, a very spiritual woman explained to me that I had been given a second chance, and that there was special work for me to do. I had no idea what that work was to be. Then one day, several years later, Teresa saw an ad for the Silva method and took the course. This again had to be divine guidance. Learning the basic program helped me to see that I was on the right path. I learned to appreciate my oneness with the universe, with all of nature. Through Silva, she met Reverend Helene Melas, who became her teacher and mentor. Teresa was finally persuaded that she was to become an ordained minister, teacher, and healer. It wasn't easy to accept the fact that I had been chosen to do this work. The Silva method played a great part in helping me to get on the right track. I discovered that I needed balance. I had the professional, the social, and was making giant strides in the emotional, but I was lacking the spiritual. The spiritual gave me balance. We all must seek this balance if we hope to have true happiness. I hope that my life experiences, challenges, and joys can serve as a glimmer of encouragement to others. It took all these things to bring me to the gateway of universal awareness and happiness. I am happy because my work is truly what I love to do. I do it well because God works and speaks through me. I don't fool myself into thinking that the power is mine alone. I am a diamond in the rough. The master jeweler is still putting on the finishing touches to make me into a highly polished and breathtakingly beautiful diamond. The next step. After more than 30 years of experience with the Silva method, a new system was revealed to Jose. At the age of 82, he was not interested in developing a new course. But when several members of his family began to pressure him to change the original course, he decided it was easier to switch than fight with them. So he began working on a new course. Over the next 2 years, it evolved into something much more than just a course. He called it a system. The Silva Ultramind ESP system is the course he would have liked to have taught in 1966, but people were not ready for a course that promised to train them to be psychics. They were primarily interested in helping themselves. The original Silva method moved many people from a me-centered approach to a we-centered attitude. One of the first beneficial statements was this: "My increasing mental faculties are for serving humanity better." Other statements were primarily me-centered. "Positive thoughts bring me benefits and advantages I desire, and every day in every way I am getting better, better, and better" are good examples. The statements in the new Ultramind system are all we-centered: do unto others only what you would have others do unto you. The solution must help to make this planet a better place to live. The solution must be the best for everybody concerned. The solution must help at least 2 or more persons. Thanks to Jose Silva and the Silva method, humanity has experienced a shift in consciousness. People now understand that they are not just physical beings, but are physical and spiritual. People now understand that the tools of their spiritual nature are visualization, imagination, and psychic ability. They understand that we are all connected to one another, and we must all work together. Today people are eager to develop their psychic abilities so that they can connect spiritually with other people and project mentally to correct problems. In the remainder of this chapter and in the next 3 chapters, Jose Silva will provide step-by-step guidance for you to learn to enter a deeper level of mind so that you can develop and use your psychic abilities. In Section 2, there is information on self-management techniques that you can use to remove any impediments to your success. Section 3 provides specialized guidance from authorities in several fields, who have used the Silva techniques for many years and who will share their knowledge and experience with you. Now let's get started by explaining the alpha brainwave level and giving you your first alpha experience. What is alpha? Your biocomputer brain operates on a small amount of electricity, just like a personal computer does. It can process and store information, retrieve that information, and then use that information to make decisions and solve problems. Unlike other computers, the electricity that the brain generates and functions with does not remain at a fixed frequency. Sometimes this electric current vibrates rapidly 20 times or more per second, other times it vibrates very slowly 1 time or less per second. Scientists call these vibrations cycles or hertz, and have divided the brain frequency spectrum into 4 different segments, based on the number of cycles per second, which we will call CPS. Beta is above 14 CPS, typically 20 CPS when your body and mind are active and you focus your eyes. Alpha, from 7 to 14 CPS, is associated with light sleep and dreaming. Theta, from 4 to 7 CPS, is associated with deeper sleep, and with the use of hypnosis for such things as painless surgery. Delta, less than 4 CPS, is associated with deepest sleep. In the next chapter, we'll talk more about the delta level and how you can use it for two-way communication with high intelligence. Developing the alpha level. During his research in the 1950s, Jose reasoned that the best range to use for mental activity would be the range that has the least impedance and the most energy. Not only did most scientists disagree, but they doubted that it was even possible for people to learn to remain at the lower alpha brain frequencies once they activated their mind. Jose proved them all wrong. The alpha frequency is the strongest and the most rhythmic of the 4. That's why it was the first to be discovered by scientists with their primitive sensing equipment. It was named alpha for the first letter in the Greek alphabet. Until now, delta has been a big mystery to researchers. People lose awareness when the brain frequency lowers to delta. Now, for the first time, we have a technique to allow us to use the delta level purposefully. How people use their minds. It seemed logical to Jose that the alpha level would be the ideal level to do your thinking, if you could learn to actually activate your mind while at alpha. You could think more clearly, because it provides more energy. You could maintain your concentration better. You could access more information more easily, because it is in the absolute center of the brain's normal operating range. But here's the catch: research revealed that most people do their thinking at the beta frequency. Most people, when their brain frequency slows to alpha, enter the subconscious area and then fall asleep. Most people are using the weakest, the least stable frequency to do their thinking, the beta level. But the super successful people stay awake at the alpha level and do their thinking there. Your first alpha experience. Will you invest 15 minutes a day for 40 days to learn to enter the alpha level with conscious awareness? If you will do this, and then will learn to apply the techniques of the Silva system, then you will succeed. We'll provide step-by-step guidance, so you will know exactly what to do. It is easier to do it than to explain it, so let's get right to your first mental training exercise, also known as a conditioning cycle. For that, read the instructions in Jose Silva's words. In the 2-day Silva training program, attendees learn how to function consciously at alpha in just a few hours, because they have the help of a trained lecturer who guides them step by step and answers all of their questions. Since you are going to be learning by reading this book, it will take longer. It will take you approximately 40 days. I will give you a simple way to relax, and you will do better and better at this as you practice. I will also give you a simple statement to affirm to yourself. This is how you train your mind. You relax, lower your brain frequency to the alpha level, and practice using imagination and visualization. Because you cannot read this book and relax simultaneously, it is necessary that you read the instructions first, so that you can put the book down, close your eyes, and follow them. Here they are. 1. Sit comfortably in a chair and close your eyes. Any position that is comfortable is a good position. 2. Take a deep breath and as you exhale, relax your body. 3. Count backward slowly from 50 to 1. 4. Daydream about some peaceful place you know. 5. Say to yourself mentally, every day, in every way, I am getting better, better, and better. 6. Remind yourself mentally that when you open your eyes at the count of 5, you will feel wide awake, better than before. When you reach the count of 3, repeat this, and when you open your eyes, affirm it again, I am wide awake, feeling better than before. You already know steps 1 and 2. You do them daily when you get home in the evening. Add a countdown, a peaceful scene, and an affirmation to help you become better and better, and you are ready for a final count-out. Read the instructions once more. Then put the book down and do it. The magic of thinking at alpha. Thanks to Jose Silva, you have just experienced programming. Your ability to program improves with practice. With practice, you relax more quickly and reach deeper, healthier levels of mind, you visualize more realistically, and your levels of expectation and belief heighten, yielding bigger and better results. Programming in this manner at the alpha level produces far better results than programming at beta. You can repeat affirmations 1,000 times at the outer level and not have as much effect as you can with just one repetition at the alpha level. That is why some people are able to visualize their goals and then reach them, while most people get very little result. Jose Silva's research found that only about 1 person in 10 naturally thinks at the alpha brainwave level and acts at the beta level. Now you will be one of the 1 in 10. Remember, the only way to get superior results is to learn how to function at the alpha level with conscious awareness, the way the 10%ers do. Using the alpha level consciously. When you attend the Silva Ultramind ESP Systems live training programs, you learn to enter the alpha level and function there with just 1 day of training. With a Silva home study program, you can use the audio tapes to learn to enter the alpha level within a few days. If you have already learned to enter the alpha level by one of those methods, you can skip the following instructions for practicing countdown deepening exercises for the next 40 days. If not, then follow these instructions from Jose Silva, when you enter sleep, you enter alpha. But you quickly go right through alpha to the deeper levels of theta and delta. Throughout the night, your brain moves back and forth through alpha, theta, and delta, like the ebb and flow of the tide. These cycles last about 90 minutes. In the morning, as you exit sleep, you come out through alpha, back into the faster beta frequencies that are associated with the outer conscious levels. Some authors advise that as you go to sleep at night, you think about your goals. That way, you get a little bit of alpha time for programming. The only trouble is, you have a tendency to fall asleep. For now, I just want you to practice a simple exercise that will help you learn to enter and stay at the alpha level. Then, in 40 days, you will be ready to begin your programming. In the meantime, I will give you some additional tasks that you can perform at the beta level that will help you prepare yourself so that you will be able to program more effectively at the alpha level when you are ready at the completion of the 40 days. Your first assignment. Here is your alpha exercise. Practice this exercise in the morning when you first wake up. Since your brain is starting to shift from alpha to beta when you first wake up, you will not have a tendency to fall asleep when you enter alpha. Here are the steps to take. 1. When you awake tomorrow morning, go to the bathroom if you have to, then go back to bed. Set your alarm clock to ring in 15 minutes, just in case you do fall asleep again. 2. Close your eyes and turn them slightly upward toward your eyebrows, about 20 degrees. Research shows that this produces more alpha. 3. Count backward slowly from 100 to 1. Do this silently, that is, do it mentally to yourself. Wait about 1 second between numbers. 4. When you reach the count of 1, hold a mental picture of yourself as a success. An easy way to do this is to recall the most recent time when you were 100% successful. Recall the setting, where you were and what the scene looked like, recall what you did, and recall what you felt like. 5. Repeat mentally, every day in every way I am getting better, better, and better. 6. Then say to yourself, I am going to count from 1 to 5. When I reach the count of 5, I will open my eyes, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. 7. Begin to count. When you reach 3, repeat, when I reach the count of 5, I will open my eyes, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. 8. Continue your count to 4 and 5. At the count of 5, open your eyes and affirm mentally, I am wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. And this is so. These 8 steps are really only 3. Go over each of these 8 steps so that you understand the purpose while at the same time become more familiar with the sequence. 1. The mind cannot relax deeply if the body is not relaxed. It is better to go to the bathroom and permit your body to enjoy full comfort. Also, when you first awake, you may not be fully awake. Going to the bathroom ensures you're being fully awake. But, in case you are still not awake enough to stay awake, set your alarm clock to ring in 15 minutes so you do not risk being late on your daily schedule. Sit in a comfortable position. 2. Research has shown that when a person turns the eyes up about 20 degrees, it triggers more alpha rhythm in the brain and also causes more right brain activity. Later when we do our mental picturing, it will be with your eyes turned upward at this angle. Meanwhile, it is a simple way to encourage alpha. You might want to think of the way you look up at the screen in a movie theater, a comfortable upward angle. 3. Counting backward is relaxing. Counting forward is activating. 1 2 3 is like get ready, get set, go. 3 2 1 is pacifying. You are going nowhere except deeper within yourself. 4. Imagining yourself the way you want to be while relaxed creates the picture. Failures who relax and imagine themselves making mistakes and losing frequently create a mental picture that brings about failure. You will do the opposite. Your mental picture is one of success, and it will create what you desire, success. 5. Words repeated mentally while relaxed create the concepts they stand for. Pictures and words program the mind to make it so. 6 to 8. These last 3 steps are simply counting to 5 to end your session. Counting upward activates you, but it's still good to give yourself orders to become activated at the count of 5. Do this before you begin to count, do it again along the way, again as you open your eyes. Once you wake up tomorrow morning and prepare yourself for this exercise, it all works down to 3 steps. 1. Count backward from 100 to 1. 2. Mentally picture yourself successful and affirm your continuing success. 3. Count yourself out 1 to 5, affirming good health and wide awakens. 40 days that can change your life for the better. You know what to do tomorrow morning, but what about after that? Here is your training program. Count backward from 100 to 1 for 10 mornings. Count backward from 50 to 1 for 10 mornings. Count backward from 25 to 1 for 10 mornings. Count backward from 10 to 1 for 10 mornings. After these 40 mornings of countdown relaxation practice, count backward only from 5 to 1 and begin to use your alpha level. People have a tendency to be impatient, to want to move faster. Please resist this temptation and follow the instructions as written. You must develop and acquire the ability to function consciously at alpha before the mental techniques will work properly for you. You must master the fundamentals first. We've been researching this field since 1944, longer than anyone else, and the techniques we have developed have helped millions of people worldwide to enjoy greater success and happiness, so please follow these simple instructions.